What's the
that
latest on William Nylander, Michael?
right now everybody doesn't seem to have a grasp on what's going on. And I guess that's a testament to Kyle Dubas and to the representatives of Nylander and Louis Gross and his father, Michael, in terms of them keeping it in-house. But I just by the fact that it's 10 days to go until the signing deadline. And, Darren Drager reported this morning that from what he has heard, there has been no movement, no progress. So, that means there may be lines of communication, but it also means that they're not exchanging offers and there's no modifying of each one of their positions.
Mm-hmm.
So as it gets down to a couple days before, I mean, this is why I think last week the Leafs put it out there that they wanted to finalize what teams would give up in a deal for Nylander, because I think more than likely the thing that they want to do first on their list is sign him. But if they can't get him on a deal where it makes sense monetarily or term for him, I think they'll trade him if they have a good offer. And if they don't have what they believe is a good offer, then I think they let him sit. They the deadline passes on December 1st, and then maybe they trade him before the deadline at February 25th when he can't play in the NHL, or they trade him at the draft. But I think that would be a mistake for Nylander, and I think it would be a missed opportunity for the Leafs to improve themselves in what they can get for Nylander. I think they should be able to get a good return for him unless teams are lowballing him.
Michael Nylander makes Carl Lindros look like parent of the year.
Well, I don't understand it, but from his point of view, he believes that he's doing the best for his son to get the most value. There are players out there that, I mean, there's a lot of talk about what some
This is
restricted.
foolish.
Yeah, I agree, but
This is foolish. This team right now, you've picked the wrong time to get into a fight with the wrong team. The Leafs are on the precipice of becoming a uber elite team that could win multiple Stanley Cups without your crown prince. And you're picking a fight with them? A team
well,
that has this much talent to pay, and
I
your son is on the pecking order as low as he is. I don't care what his stats say. Like, give me a
well,
break, man. Like, you're picking a fight at the wrong time with the wrong team. I understand holding a team ransom at a team that is vulnerable, a team that needs your kid's services, a team with cap room. This is the wrong fight with the wrong team at the wrong time. This is ill-advised, and these guys. I'll be honest with you. William Nylander's representation is almost as terrible in the hockey business sense as it is on Twitter from all of these crazy nuts out there who think he's the best player on the planet. And, what he's doing isn't ill-advised, but is justified. Come on, man. Seriously.
I'm not saying that William Nylander is completely 100% selfish, because that would be misrepresentative. But what I am saying is, I think he's concerned, and rightly so, with what his contract is and what he will make, and that's what his representation is there for. But the Leafs have to think of the Leafs, and they have to think of what they're paying him and whether that will affect what they pay Mitch Marner next year and Austin Matthews next year. And that, they can't get
Mm-hmm.
sentimental about a player who they really like, but if he's demanding too much and there's no modification of his demand, then I think it either goes to trade or they let him rot. And I
Mike,
think more than likely it's going to be the trade, but we'll see.
Mike, I don't even think he's selfish. I think they're trying to get the money that they believe he's worth. It's just wrong time, wrong team, wrong scenario. The numbers that the pro Nylander people will use have merit when basing what they think this guy should make versus what Mitch Marner is probably going to want to make. And then you start to break down the advanced statistics that suggest William Nylander makes his team better. His exit zone numbers, his entry zone numbers, his 5-on-5 numbers are superior to someone like Mitch Marner's. Last year, the Leafs aren't now saying, well, let's stop the way we judge a player at the end of last season. Oh, by the way, wouldn't you also want to judge what Mitch Marner did in the playoffs versus what William Nylander didn't? But what Mitch Marner is doing now caps and trumps anything that William Nylander has done or perhaps will ever do. We can't compare these two anymore. I know they are comparable players, but one player has set himself apart. The other player is stuck in neutral. You know, his representation is endangering this guy's ability to not only make the money he wants, but to have a reputation
Right.
of being someone that, you know, is looking out for himself, but is also going to put the team that he's with and its aspirations of winning on par or perhaps ahead of his own.
Two quick things. One, and speaking to someone yesterday, talking about the Nylander situation, they said, he better watch out, not only because he may lose this year's salary, but if there is a lockout next September, which there's a distinct possibility because the players and the Players Association have a way of opting out next summer, he could potentially be without a salary for 2 years. So that has to be something he has to think about. The other thing is, and this is sort of Monday morning quarterbacking, but I said it a few years ago, that in the year that the Leafs finished dead last and won the lottery for Austin Matthews, they called up William Nylander after the trade deadline and played him 22 games, and that burned the first year of his entry level. Now, you can say that Lou Lamoriello is in a way responsible for this because Nylander would still be on his ELC if they hadn't burned that first year. But the only problem is then you'd have all three of Matthews, Marner, and Nylander becoming RFAs at the same time. So that has to be considered a factor here, but I don't know if it would have been positive or negative to have them all three go at the same time.
William Nylander wants to get paid based on what he's done. Mitch Marner is going to get paid based on what he continues to do. He's second in the league in assists. He is one of the most exciting, thrilling, exhilarating players in the league. And there's just no stopping it. And you're just going to have to dig in and enjoy what this guy does and keep your fingers crossed that the exalted number 29 gets back in the league in some way, shape, or form. I'd love to see William Nylander back in the league doing his thing with the Maple Leafs. It's not going to happen. Not now. We're at this point, and these two teams are as divided as they are. They've dug in the way they have. You think that it's just all about numbers and that there's nothing more to it than that, and that Kyle Dubas and Team Nylander are on the phone every night talking about the things that they'll all be doing together once this impasse finally comes to pass? I don't think so.